Tech. How are you today, Dave?
I'm great. Thanks, Jay. How are you?
Good, good. First and foremost, can you talk a little bit about who you are and tell the Algoma fans who you are and where you're from?
Yeah. So I grew up in Vancouver, British Columbia. Been back and forth there my whole life. Been to New Brunswick, where I went to school and played, and then I got to play in Germany for 6, 7 years. So I've kind of been back and forth, but always ended up back in Vancouver. And then this opportunity came along, and I couldn't say no. A lot of interest in building a program and trying to get it to where I would love it to be. But yeah, for me, I've always been a big soccer guy. Obviously, my parents are both European backgrounds, both sides of the family, so I call it football. But for Canada and the rest of us, we all say soccer. So I'll stick. You might hear me say football a couple times, but I'll try and stick it
No
to.
problem. No problem. First thing is, how do you like Sault Ste Marie? You've only been here a couple months, but talk about the Soo a little bit.
Yeah, so the Soo is a different place for sure. It's I'm obviously used to a bit bigger cities, but I have lived in smaller cities. Both, Fredericton wasn't the biggest one either in my life, and I loved it there. I had a great time there. Met a lot of great people. Still have friends there. And yeah, is in Germany. I had a couple of really small towns, so I know what it's like. But for the Soo in general, I mean, winters were a bit of an adjustment when I first got here, and snowed 2 feet in 10 hours or something crazy like that. But I'm an outdoors guy, so I've started to explore the Soo. I have been enjoying it more and more now that I have a bit of time during the off season to go out and go for walks and kind of explore a bit. So yeah, no, I love it. People are super friendly. I've had a great experience so far with everyone I've come in contact with, pardon me. And I think people are excited as well. There is a European flair in the Soo for sure. So I think people are excited, and that obviously just motivates me even more to take this program where it can go, I believe. And so that's been exciting. Yeah.
And as a coach, can you talk a little bit for players or recruits looking to come to Algoma? Talk a little bit about your philosophy and how you're going to implement it into the program.
Yeah. So I think first and foremost, I like to touch on the fact that I'm looking for the right characters. For me, you could be a fantastic player, but if you don't have the right character and you aren't in it for the team, it's that selfish mentality, that single tunnel view, and that's it. I'm not looking for you. You're just not the type of character that we want here. We want guys that are, supportive, that are there for their team, and create that sort of family culture. Especially being a smaller city like Sault Ste. Marie is, I think that's very important for all the boys to kind of have each other's backs. They do. I've seen it already. That's been here since I stepped in here day one. I could see how close they were. And now obviously, we do have a big recruiting class coming in. So, it's just about, sort of gelling them into the fold right now, which they've already started to do. They're on the group chat every day, chatting to each other. So I'm not too worried about that, but that's kind of my first and foremost, is what type of character you have. Who are you as a person? And then of course, we have that crazy student athlete balance of school and athletics, right? So, we give everyone the opportunity, of course. And, there's some guys obviously that, getting 60% is their max. They're trying the hardest. And then we have guys that are getting 90s. Right. And it's just about, having that support for them, and building that culture. Again, like I said, that there's that family feel. So, there's a player that's already done that course. Maybe they can help tutor, a freshman coming in, or things like that. So I think that's kind of what we're looking for in terms of the off-field stuff. On field, I love that high flying, high press, fast pace, attack layer after layer. but I also like to position us to be set up defensively, even when we're attacking. So there's a lot of different variables that will go into how we set up this year. But in terms of our philosophy, I would just say that we want the ball. You can't win games if you don't have the ball. We want to possess the ball, but I'm not one of those guys that just kind of sits back and, slowly, robotically gets up the field. I want them to have creativity, but of course there is going to be some structure leading up to that. I don't want to give away too much, to be honest with you. I've kept things pretty close to the chest for us right now, even with some of the recruiting. I know that we're going to shock some people this year. We have a fantastic core here, and just adding some guys that have had a bit more experience or have played in different places that can bring their experiences from those places to here. I think, it's looking very positive. So.
And it's something, again, I talked to Neil Ovey, the women's coach, quite a bit. And it's not just soccer. It could be basketball, could be hockey. It doesn't matter at the university level. But when I talk to Neil, girls are concentrated on their studies and then sports. As a men's coach, a lot of times it's sport, then studies. As a coach, I know there's a fine line of where you try to help them as a student, but how do you do that as a coach?
So for me, obviously I was brought in here as the men's soccer coach, right? I'm not, I try and verse myself as best I can. So for example, whether that be the, registration process, the admissions process, domestic and international have different, things they have to go through. Internationals obviously need their student visas from Canada. So as a coach, I try and verse myself the best I can, and with an overview of each of the programs that my players are participating in. Of course, for me, I'm not one of those professors. I'm not a registrar. I'm not, right? So I try to just do my best in terms of linking them with those people that have more experience and expertise, obviously, within that field, because that's what their jobs are. So I try and have the base for myself as a coach, because I think that's important. But then when it gets to the, fine details, I've been able to meet a lot of those people in those positions, so that, we have that face-to-face, we have the chat, or if we haven't been able to have the face-to-face yet, obviously, because it's summertime, then, we've exchanged emails and things like that, just so that I'm familiar with them and they are familiar with me, and we can get kind of a smoother process from my side as a coach to get them in touch with the right people. But in terms of the football side, I can talk for hours about this. I am obsessed with football, with soccer. I'm obsessed with it. I've always been since, young days. It was always kind of this in hockey. And then soccer just kind of took over at a certain point, 14 to 16 area. So I could ask me anything about soccer. I'm there.
Understandable. And then again, that's good also for coming from a coach's point of view, right?
Mm-hmm.
You live and breathe it. So if you can teach these kids and coach these kids the way you want them to be and to help them move along, it's huge, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's, everyone that hasn't been sort of in this, I guess, area of that student athlete life, they don't quite understand what it takes for these student athletes. It is grinding. It is very grueling. Our season's short. There's the travel. You have training, a ton of training during the week. You got back-to-back games, or a Friday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Saturday, Sunday, whichever it is. Their time management is heightened even more than a regular student. And I think a lot of people forget that. And so for me, that's one of my big things is I want to check in with the players, right? I might choose a couple guys each week just to check in. Hey, how's schoolwork going, et cetera, et cetera. I encourage them to reach out to their professors in the beginning of their, semester and say, hey, listen, I am a varsity athlete. Once I get the course outline, this is due, this is due, this is due. Hey, this is a travel day. So can we chat about, things like that? Just so that they're prepared, and also the professors are prepared, because, their job is to teach a subject to the students, to obviously for understanding and all of that. And on the flip side, as a student athlete, you're here for school. You're here to get your degree. The bonus is that you can continue to play, your sport of choice on top of that. And for, certain individuals, they're able to potentially get some funding for their school because of it. So I think for me, it's a lot of it is just management. It's just the time management. It's the player management. It's the student athlete, management side. And I think that's a bigger focus than someone who's not involved in it kind of understands. So that's going to be a huge one, especially with all the incoming recruits. We have 2 or 3 transfers, but the rest are essentially starting brand new. So, you've done high school, but university, as anyone who's gone to university, has a different story. So
different animal, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And again, you've been in Sault Ste. Marie since about March. Is that when you were hired?
I think it was near the end of February, or middle or end of February. Yeah.
Now, with the OUA, again, being from Vancouver, a bigger city, more challenges trying to recruit to a small school?
I love this question. I think there's roadblocks at times. I don't think it's impossible. You have to know what you have and what you can provide as a school. I think that, with smaller universities and student population, I think for most schools like that, it also means smaller class sizes, right?
Exactly.
You go to a massive school and you get the 250 in an auditorium, you're kind of handed off to teachers' assistants and things like that at times. So you're not getting that one-on-one with the professor like we do here at Algoma in most courses, right? So I think for the students, that's a huge draw. And as a coach, you have to, explain that and put that out as, hey, listen, you can go into this class and you might be handed off to a teacher's assistant, et cetera, et cetera. Here at Algoma, you actually get the professor who, in a lot of instances, has written the book even, and know their names, right? And I've heard there is a couple boys who said, there was a couple professors that came out to watch the soccer games last year, right? Just because they had somebody in their class, and they, same with basketball, and curling had one as well. And so I think for me, it's about playing on your strengths of, hey, we might not have the big city and, 500,000 plus city and the busyness of that. But look, you can come here. There is no distractions here. If you want to do your school and especially for student athlete and play your sport and develop in that sport and continue to grow in that sport, this is the perfect environment for you. I don't know if there's a better one, because
exactly, the only other two are probably Lakehead and Nipissing, right?
Exactly.
The OUA, right?
Exactly, right. And they're going to play on that as well, right? That's their positives as well. So I think, there's pros and cons to a big school. There's pros and cons to a little school, right? Or a smaller school. So, but for me, it's with Algoma, it's okay. There's not a lot of distraction here. You can still go and enjoy the things that the Soo provides. A lot of outdoor activities, obviously, is a big one out here. Small class sizes, but also because we are a smaller university, we are, I find, able to create that family culture within all of the varsity athletics, not just men's soccer, women's soccer, basketball, curling, Nordic skiing, wrestling. We have, I hope I didn't miss one.
I think cross country.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cam's going to be upset with me that I forgot that, but so you're able to kind of create that camaraderie between all of the sports, right? Because most of them are probably in the same courses, and I find, not for sure, but a lot of the time at a bigger school, you might not get that same camaraderie just because of the fact that, someone's over here on campus, someone's over here on campus. You never cross paths because you're in different sports. So, like there's some stuff there, but yeah, I when I'm not here, when I've gone on recruiting trips already, it's, man, I miss the Sioux. I can't wait to get back there. So I'm loving it so far. I'm enjoying myself.
And it's something that you talk again about the Sioux. How do you engage and how do you get your players involved in the community, whether it's soccer or promoting the programs or?
Yeah. So for me, I think I'm just getting thank you. Sorry about that. I'm just getting, kind of moving on a bit more. I don't think, I don't obviously know past of what's been tried or anything like that, but I feel like we aren't in the community enough. I would like to see us, going to help with camps or with, local clubs. It could be anything, volunteering stuff. Some local youth teams, maybe we have something going on during one of the games for them. Things like that. I'd like to get moving a bit more. I don't think we have much of that here right now. But of course, when I first came in, my first priority was obviously settling in myself, creating my staff, but then also, okay, we have a lot of work to do. So we have to put a team on the field that's going to compete week in, week out. Committed guys, good character guys, good values, hardworking, the commitment, professionalism is a big one we've talked about with the boys. Again, I wasn't here, so I don't know, what's happened in the past or, how things have kind of been run that way. But my big thing is, like, I've been a part of professional teams. My assistant's been a part of professional teams. We've just brought another local assistant for us here on board, and they have their national B license for with Canada Soccer. So they have their experience as well. They've coached in the community a long time. So I think for me, we're really trying to give them that professional feel of what we've experienced ourselves, and also demand that from them, right? That can be on the field and off the field. There's no secret. There was some stuff on the field last year that if I know that they were upset as a staff last year about it, and I would be too, and that just won't fly with me. You won't be here on the team if you're going to conduct yourself like that. So for me, I think that's a huge one as well, is tying that into the professionalism of, hey, you're anywhere you go to play, you're representing Algoma, not only the university, you're representing this whole area, this city, the Sioux, right? So that's a big one for me. So I think, and I believe that the boys understand that now, because I've drilled it into them already. When you're wearing an Algoma shirt, Algoma U shirt, or a Thunderbird shirt, and there's a logo, you have to conduct yourself properly, right? They're young men, obviously. There's going to be moments where they make mistakes. There's going to be moments, where I make mistakes as a coach, but it's about, understanding what's happened and obviously learning and moving forward. I've seen a lot of it in my years, both as a player. I've used some of the excuses, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure, but as a coach, I've seen it, and whichever one of the boys is watching this, eventually they love the saying, it's not my first rodeo. So they use that against me quite a bit now. They've heard me say it enough, but it's not. I've seen it. I've lived it. And I know what it takes. I know what it takes to create a strong program and be able to be an influence in the city, which is what I want this program to be and what I believe it can be.
And again, we always say, when it comes to sports, winning is the best. Mm. But what do you gauge when it comes to your long-term plans, and how do you measure your success?
Yeah. So I kind of have this saying before I kind of jump into that is, losing sucks, but you learn something every time you lose, right? But ain't winning fun when you're with the boys. You're with the guys, you grind it out, and you get a W. It's always a better feeling, right? You're with your friends and you're winning. It's always the best feeling, right? Everyone strives for that. With this group, obviously history of this program, they've had some ups and downs, but they've had recently a lot of downs. There's been probably quite a few university programs that don't take us seriously. That is going to change. That will change. I believe that wholeheartedly. I don't think people will give us any credit whatsoever, which is the best place for us. And the boys love that. They're cherishing that we're in that position, because I think we're going to shock some people this year. For me, sorry, you want to repeat your question? You're talking about winning.
How do you measure your success?
Yeah. So for me, I think being competitive this year, obviously, things, whatever happened in the past is what happened. But I think everyone can see that they weren't very competitive, right? In the previous years, they, as a group, they weren't the most competitive team. We will be competitive this year. And that is how, someone fantastic once said to me, one of my mentors, Adam Day, he won a gold medal with the Canadian women's team in Tokyo there. He said it to me, don't judge me on anything else than the recruits I bring in. And what he meant by that is character, their values, who they are, and what they bring to the program, culture-wise, right? I know, there's a couple of boys that have come from where I was previously, which, makes me feel very good, because I think it shows that they trust me and they understand, what I'm about. And they'll be able to say it too, is, my thing is just be competitive. Be a team that on any single day, any team that comes to play us, they have a chance of losing. That's my success right now. What my goals are, I'm going to hold a bit closer. People around me know, they know what my goals are this year.
Your ultimate goal is an OUA championship, of course.
In the end, 1,000%. I'm not going for an OUA championship. I'm going for a national championship. At some point, I'm going.
And usually doesn't happen in your first year as a coach in a program, but
no, but it has been done. Not a national championship, but a conference championship has been done, because I lived it. I was on the other side. So I know it can be done in a coach's first year. I won't out that coach, but but I know it can be done, and it's been done in youth sports. It's been done here. So I'm not saying, we're going to go 12-0 and we're going for an OUA title right off the bat and we're going to win and we're going to go to nationals. What I'm saying is we're going to compete, and the opportunity to get there is going to be there. I know that's a huge turn. I've had to convince some people within the city, even, of, hey, this is possible. That we just needed a bit of organization, bit of structure to fit my philosophy, my tactics, my system, and hopefully bring in, like I said, those guys that have a bit of different experience in having played in different places that can come and add to a very strong core. And so for me, my expectations for this season is I would like, of course, to be in a playoff hunt spot. That would be a huge turnaround for this program. Now,
exactly.
Am I guaranteeing that? No, because you never know. It looks great on paper to me, but there's also however many other teams that also feel it on paper. They look fantastic, right?
Exactly.
So for me, it's just about being competitive. When teams, home field advantage is going to be a big one. For me, I want teams to come here and know on the bus going, oh man, we got to play Algoma. It's going to be a war today, right? I'm going to be sore. They're going to work us. That's what I want, right? And I feel like that would be a huge success for this program, because I think a big one is the culture. Like I said, I feel like bringing that culture here right now. Not that it wasn't here. I'm not saying that, but just sharpening it would be fantastic. And then of course, yeah, on the field, my big thing is I'm going to see where we're at, in our preseason games and kind of gauge, okay, where do I think we sit right now?
Yep.
And then, going into the season, obviously, we have huge games right off the bat against teams that, are all going to be trying to get into those playoff spots. So, I think for us, we're in a good space right now as a group. And I think as guys come in for preseason, we'll be able to set more of our team goals then as we're together in person for this year. But definitely being competitive, not having those 9-1 type of performances where guys are consistent, guys are putting all their effort and energy and focus into those 2-3 months that you have, and I think they're going to do it. I think they'll do it. I don't think, I know they're going to do it because that we have a saying here now that the boys are very familiar with. I don't have expectations, I have requirements. If you're not meeting the requirement, then this program might not be for you, right? And I think that the boys have bought into that, and they understand that, hey, we have an opportunity to do something amazing together and be the group that helped propel Algoma into a contender year after year, right? And we were the group that started that, right? And that's how I think they're looking at it. And I think, like I said, I've kept everything a little closer to my chest than I normally would, because I do want us to have the best opportunity to do that.
And we've talked a lot about expectations with the players.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what expectation, put a little bit of pressure on you here, what expectations do you have from your coaching staff?
Yeah, so I've started constructing my staff, obviously, a little while ago.
You brought somebody with you, of course.
I did bring Connor. Yeah, I brought Connor with me from Vancouver. For me, I mean, he has shown, I knew what I had, but he has shown me even more, which I've been very, very impressed with. He has the playing history, big time. He had played in Manchester City's academy as a kid, Blackburn, and kind of bounced around a couple of different clubs around there, and has played for me as well at the university level. So he knows what I expect and what my requirements are. And as a coach, I've had him as my assistant coach at the high performance youth level, BCSPL in Vancouver. So he understands what I'm looking for. A lot of the time I don't have to say it. He just knows, right?
Yep.
Loves football, loves it, is obsessed like me, probably maybe even more obsessed. I gotta be honest. He everyone watches, the YouTube and different things. He's watching football and only football on YouTube, or, so, but my expectation for him is I want him to learn. That's part of my job as a head coach is to help my assistants progress their learning and to, help me in moments where I might be focused on a certain area and they see something else that needs a little tweak, and they can say, hey, Dave, listen, have a look at this. What do you think? Kind of feeding off of each other. Ultimately, it's going to be my decision, of course, but I trust the guys that I bring in with me. So, I take what they say very heavy. And I think with him and I in particular, we feed off each other very well, because I was, an attacking player. He was more of a defending player, and we've brought that into our coaching styles a bit. So I think it's a good balance. We've just brought in Steve, who's a local guy here, and has been involved in the game in the youth program for a long time. Not aging him, just he's been experienced, and so we're sorting that out for him to bring him on board. Really excited about that too. Getting a local person in here that knows the city, knows people in the city, knows the youth. That's going to be a huge thing moving forward. I want to inject a bunch of young youth players so that they have an opportunity to stay at home and play for their local university. Pardon me. So that's going to be a great option. And he's very knowledgeable as well. He sees the game similar to what I see it as, and similar philosophies and stuff. So for my staff, I guess I just expect them to be supportive of me, bridge that, coach to player area. And that's the fun part about an assistant coach. So I'm excited for them. And I'm excited to learn from them too. Coaching is all about learning off of other coaches, and other, ideas and tricks of the trade kind of thing. So I'm excited for that from my point, but I am here to help progress their learning as well. And for them to, be those extra eyes and those extra outlets for myself, but also for the players.
And I know you touched base on about, like you say, academics and balancing, but with the veterans, how do you, I guess not say expect, but what do you expect from the veterans to help with the new freshmen coming in to help them with that transition from, say, high school to the OUA level?
Yeah. So we have Tim on our team. He's been the president of the student union. So he knows a lot of, ins and outs of every aspect of being a student, obviously.
Student life, right?
Yeah, student life. So for me, he's going to be a big piece for the freshmen. I know he has loads of information, fantastic guy, always willing to help. Obviously we have, different guys in that have been here for certain, number of years. Taylor is another one. Just looking at my board here, trying.
Alex Bird.
Yeah, Alex Bird. Josh Aiden was a freshman as well. So he has, we have a big year 2, year 3 core, and so those guys are going to be able to relate with the guys coming in as freshmen, and hopefully be able to give them some tips and tricks of how to, the load management and the time management side of being a student athlete, right? Like I said earlier, you're not a regular student. You're just not. You're expected so much more, or you are. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Tongue twisting myself, but yeah.
And I know your board's there beside you. How many returnees are we probably expecting to see come the fall?
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
15.
Yeah.
And not that you're going to name names or where they're from, but how many are we going to see come into the program?
Probably between 8 and 10. Yeah, I don't mind naming who we're bringing in. Some of them have already been put up on the website and stuff like that, so it's not a secret per se. But we do have Ulrich. He's played in one of the top academies in France. Played in the JUCO, so junior college down in the States, and has decided to come up here. He's got some family up here, so. We were a great fit for him, and I'm happy to bring him in. He's, going to be a fantastic player for us. That's a big signing. Luke Harrop comes from Leeds United originally, played for me last year. Fantastic, big boy, good confidence on the ball. Is going to be a good holding center midfielder for us. Jules has been here in the Sioux, so that's exciting to have somebody who's from. Not necessarily from here growing up wise, but is from here now. So Jules is exciting, quick winger, good feet, good shot on him. Excited to bring him in. Pete also played for me last year, and fantastic, like just good, great guy overall. Very fast, super quick player. Probably fullback winger. We're going to see where he kind of fits within our squad when he gets here, and just kind of piecing everything together. Josh is coming over. He's one of our recent ones. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that. He's just been announced, but you get the first news.
We'll use the first name and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But big signing for us. From a very big club in England as a youth player. So that's super exciting for us. Daniel's been announced as well. He's played on the U15 and U17 national team for Colombia. So he's adding a heck of a lot of experience for us. And then we just, again, another one I can't name because it's just happened today. Right before this call, I got another one coming in. Diraj, he's going to be a very good attacking midfielder. We might move him around a bit. That's going to be a great addition for us. And I'm waiting on one. You'll probably hear about it either way. But we're just sorting out his kind of pathway because he really wants to come to Canada for school. He's not Canadian, but very good player, fantastic kid. Had a ton of chats with him. So obviously we're just, I want him to, with any student, that we chat to, I want them to choose what's best for them. As much as I want guys to come here, to study, to get their degree from Algoma, and then, to help us and play for us, I want guys to go where they're going to be happy and that sort of thing. So he's going to make his decision in the next couple of days here.
And I know we're two guys who love to talk. We know that. But in 2 words, Dave Andreychuk.
Ooh. Passionate. Loyal.
And the last question, what's it going to feel like to step on that field at Superior Heights come September?
I normally love the summertime. I don't care about it one bit right now. I wish it was gone. I would step on the field tomorrow. I'm super excited. Listen, being able to coach any team is exciting for me. Being able to coach a university is even more exciting. Being able to wear stuff that has a Thunderbird on it, what it stands for.
Sorry, I saw you in April. We're wearing shorts and you're wearing a bomber jacket. So are you going to wear a snowsuit come fall or what?
I might be in about 7 layers come the fall. I'm doing well right now. I'm in t-shirt, a polo, and shorts, so I'm adjusting. But no, it's gonna feel fantastic. I'm to step out and at the end of the day, it's all about the boys. To be able to help lead them on the field is going to be so exciting for me. I've had a number of teams that I've loved to coach. Just seeing the growth since I've been here of some of these boys. I can't wait to see what they do. Man, I'm so excited. I can't wait to step on the field, get into that first, get those first jitters out of the way, and hopefully off we go. So yeah, I'm super excited. Just what the school stands for, what the players stand for moving forward, and seeing where we can take this. I'm excited.
And one thing is we'll finish with is soccer again in Sault Ste. Marie. It's hockey. And I know as a coach, it's not your job, but how do we get the soccer fans and new fans to come and watch Algoma?
So obviously, Sioux Greyhounds has so much history. They're never going to not be
number one,
a huge thing. I'm going to challenge that. One day. I'm not going to say that, but they will be at the top. Of course. I will go watch games as well. I am a big hockey guy. I love watching, but for me, I think, there's a big Italian population here. There's a lot of European influence in the Sioux as well. And of course, Canada, what a rise right now we have in our national teams and within this country for football. And obviously hosting the World Cup is another, huge thing in 2026. That's going to be super exciting for Canadians. For me, I just say you're going to see competition. The atmosphere is going to be electric. Come out, support the men's and women's soccer teams and all the sports here. Honestly, I know I'm talking about soccer, but all of the coaches in here, we've had chats and we're excited. This is a good group of coaches that are super passionate about the programs that they're leading. So I'm excited to see the other sports and the other side of things just as a fan myself. But in terms of soccer, I would just say show up for the student athletes. Let this be a cool outlet for you and your family. Let this be a cool outlet for you and your friends. We're going to put on a show. It's nothing that you've seen. I'm going to venture out to say that it will be nothing like you've seen. We will play fantastic football. This is a bunch of boys that, I think are going to cherish every person that's there. They'll feed off the atmosphere. We've seen it already, even in training. We had a couple youth teams pop in right at the end of one of our trainings, and you got when someone makes a little nutmeg or something, the boys were loving it. It's the atmosphere is what is going to help make this program even better. And so I just encourage, obviously getting students out is going to be, a big one for us. I want the student body to embrace the sports programs, especially, our program. I want people of the community, locals, to come out and listen. You're supporting Sioux Greyhounds, you're supporting Algoma University, you're supporting local youth clubs. It's all necessary things for this city. It means so much to those people, especially if this is sort of the highest level that they go. Give them that and they will give you something back, right? They'll give you that 2 hours of getting lost, forgetting about everything else, and just being able to go watch, the beautiful game, as we say in the soccer world. But, it's a cool family outing. It's a cool friends outing. It's an opportunity to get outside and support your locals. And right now, obviously, Sioux Greyhounds is kind of, as far as I know, I could be mistaken, so I apologize if so, but is kind of the biggest entertainment we have in terms of sports. So let's create another one, right? Let's start, hey, these times we can go watch basketball. We have Sioux Greyhounds Day. We have Algoma, soccer. So there's so many different, avenues that we can create into being fantastic opportunity, for entertainment in the city. And I'm excited for that. We'll push for that. We want to do some fan engagement stuff. I got a couple of tricks up my sleeve as well for that, just to make it a bit, more fun and enticing. But obviously, I want people to support it, because I know that the boys want to start giving back to the community and, bridging that kind of gap that I feel like there is a little bit right now. Will be crucial, and that starts with coming to support the boys and the women, of course, as well. So yeah, I'm excited.
And as a men's coach for the OUA and say youth sport, realistically, when you're talking to a recruit, realistically, where can what do you say to them when they say we want to get past university soccer? And being in Canada, is there potential for them to go somewhere?
Yeah. So you mean like a professional?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously the Canadian Premier League has skyrocketed lately. We have obviously our 3 MLS franchises. They're fairly structured, obviously, with how they're allowed to recruit and obviously how they recruit. They've been established in that league for a long time, but the exciting part right now is the CPL, the Canadian Premier League. They draft from, in the draft that they have every year, like the MLS does. They draft from youth sports teams, and that gives players the opportunity to, yes, you're here, you're getting your degree. There has to be a life after football to some degree. Obviously, I am lucky enough to be one of the ones that gets to stay in it a bit with coaching. But there is a life after football, and this is the best of both worlds, because you have the opportunity to get your degree, which is so important, like I said, for life after football. But then you also have the opportunity of, hey, there's still an opportunity for me to potentially play professionally. If I do well enough in youth sports and have the opportunity to get drafted. So I think this is kind of the best setup right now. Is youth sports, right? The ability to live out both, dreams, I guess is the best way to put it. Is okay, I can get my degree and I could still continue in soccer and football. So yeah, it's for me, I go, why do you need to go anywhere else? Here's your spot, right? Here's your spot. Then it's on you. Get your good grades, play well.
Exactly. And you had mentioned throughout the interview, you are a hockey fan, and being a hockey city, Who's winning the Stanley Cup?
I got to be honest. I have been a massive Tampa Bay fan since even before Dave Andreychuk himself got there to win a Stanley Cup. But yeah, it was my first ever hockey jersey, and they were a brutal franchise when they came in. It wasn't like
I'm an Edmonton fan, so I know your pain.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we've had obviously some recent success, but I don't know. I just feel like there's no stopping Florida.
It's like a Algoma Cinderella story.
It is a Cinderella story. I do want to point out though, because I feel like we're like this too. It is a Cinderella story, Jay, but Florida had a ton of injuries at the beginning of the year. They're not an 8th place team.
No.
On paper, they're not, obviously. However, the story of how they had to battle back, and then I think it was the last game of the season they got in. So that is unbelievable. And, to go through who they had to go through to get there, even more of a Cinderella story. So It just proves it's a great thing that, you bring out is the Cinderella story. It's doable. So, I think that's, the category naturally that we would fit into if we were to be, that successful this year, obviously. But I don't look at it like that. I look at this team and I go, let's be a powerhouse, right? Give us another seat. So for me, that's the confidence I have. But of course, just based on, unfortunate track record, it is going to be something like that. But yeah, I would say in terms of hockey, I think Florida Panthers it was just too good of a story for them not to win.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, exactly. I don't know. We'll see. Anything can happen, right? Anything
exactly.
Can happen,
and nobody would have thought they would have got past Boston.
No. I don't even know if they believed it at the time. They were trying.
Exactly. And being Canadians, on paper, Toronto should have been there too, right? So you don't. I always say postseason, going back to use it, is a different animal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, completely different. Completely different.
So
yeah.
Well, Dave, I can't thank you enough, and hopefully we can do this in about October again to see when you're going into the playoffs.
Absolutely. I hope so. Anytime.